அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். All welcome to all. For people in Tamil Nadu, obviously know who is Senior Annadurai, Anna to us. September 15th, 114th birth anniversary of Mr. Annadurai. Anna has often said, he has said that India is not a country. You need to understand that India is more like a subcontinent. He goes on to say that a vast land of many ethnicities. I don't think there can be any doubt on this thing as well. It is impossible to have a single common rule and governance, which basically is what the government of today is attempting. One nation, one everything. That is not possible. Similarly, it is not possible to have single common language as official language. These are the things that he said in an interview on 11/10/1950. If Hindi is needed, we do not oppose those who want to learn it, but asserting that this is the official language becomes a problem. So when the Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, says that something like on the observation of Hindi Divas, says that the language unites the whole nation in a thread of unity, that shows a poor understanding of the Constitution. And that's what prompts M.K. Stalin, the current Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, to retort, saying that apart from imposing Hindi as a language, the BJP government has been imposing the false notion that only Hindi can unite the people of India. If anything, the preferential treatment towards, again, I'm quoting Stalin, if anything, the preferential treatment towards Hindi creates unwanted disgruntlement among the people of various states and divides them. And Mr. Stalin takes strong exception to the statement made by Union Home Minister Amit Shah and urges him to take concrete steps for the development of all languages in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. It's high time to make all our languages as official languages on par with Hindi. Where does this come from? This comes from Anna's, objections to, why the South is not adopting Hindi as an official language. In fact, his first objection is that Hindi in the context of South India is untenable. Secondly, it represents the tyranny of the majority. Thirdly, it will reduce the South Indians to the status of second-class citizens. Fourthly, in a multilingual country such as ours, one regional language is as good or as bad as another. So Hindi has no special merit. Fifthly, domination of the non-Hindi areas by Hindi areas will hamper rather than promote national integration. Lastly, Hindi in its present stage of development is inadequate and it is unsuitable in the perspective of the rapid advances in modern science and technology. If, for example, we had to accept the principle of numerical superiority while selecting our national bird, our choice would have fallen not on the peacock, but on the common crow. That was his, objection. He wanted to know, why should I, have a separate window to talk to the world and another door or window to talk to India? English is the common link language with which India communicates to the world. And why not use the same language to communicate with others? So we see the agenda which was set in 1967 is as relevant as in 1967 as it is today, and we are again condemned to repeat history. And that is where I will stop, and I will request Kavitha to share her thoughts on Annadurai and the saying no to Hindi, focusing on saying no to Hindi, but of course she can speak from the women's perspective.
Thanks, R.K. Tamil Nadu doesn't oppose Hindi, but it opposes the imposition of Hindi. Is not something that happened in 1960s. Our first Hindi, struggle against Hindi imposition happened in 1930s. In fact, Periyar led it, and Periyar was interestingly, one of the charges against Periyar was that he encouraged women to participate in the anti-Hindi protests. And then we had another one before Annadurai took over as CM of Tamil Nadu in 1965. So in 1967, Annadurai takes over. I wanted to say he ruled only for 2 years. He died in 1969. But those 2 years, I think in a very phenomenal way, he kind of redefined Tamil Nadu. He translated Periyar's ideas into reality. Like, I mean, in Anna's own words, I'm quoting from the translation done by Comrade Sudhakar Ganesan. So Anna says, a year ago, I came to power. I have done 3 important things in 1 year. Firstly, the legalization of self-respect marriages. Secondly, the renaming of our motherland as Tamil Nadu. The declaration that there is no place for Hindi in Tamil Nadu by announcing the 2-language policy for Tamil and English. Many are outraged and agitated on seeing this and wonder if they let this go on unchecked. They think my government should be dissolved. I will not dare them to do it. If they can, you can. But the mere thought of bringing someone else to rule and letting them change everything that Annadurai had brought will also be accompanied by fear of people's revolt. As long as that fear exists, it means that it's Annadurai who rules this country. With this, I end Anna's quote. And I mean, I think it's very relevant. You know, the kind of way that Tamil Nadu reacts to imposition of Hindi at any chance. Like when this Kanimozhi CPR thing happened, honestly, I was very surprised about the public reaction over it. Surprised in a very nice way, I think, because we still hold on to those revolutionary ideas. So I think that in that way, Anna had kind of set the stage for what Tamil Nadu has to move forward in a very political way, and we are still going ahead with it. We are still following this path. And what Annadurai did in the 2 years that he was in power was, like, in the 2 years, he tried to kind of translate Periyar's ideas into reality, and he speaks about self-respect marriages also.
See, I think one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, Kavitha, is that why is this language issue such a huge thing in Tamil Nadu? Why not in Karnataka? Tara, the Kannada part, please.
I think a couple of points here. See, let's look at the composition of the states, okay? If you look at, even then I'm talking about, many of the states were multicultural. At that point, it was Madras state. And, we are talking about the 30s when some of this started. Up over there, we hadn't even had the division of Andhra Pradesh, and some of the territories between Kerala and Tamil Nadu were not resolved yet as well. And in fact, Karnataka, it's a very new state, that it was not created in 47 or 56 when linguistic states were born. It was created much later in the 70s. But that is one. But the second aspect is also, so while at that time many states were multicultural, multilingual. Tamil Nadu was multilingual. Karnataka certainly was multilingual. Karnataka continues to stay multilingual. If you look at the languages in Karnataka, it is not only Kannada, you have Tulu, you have Konkani, you have the Kurgi languages that are spoken. But while these are native languages, right? And they're not spoken in any other state in numbers. In other states, this is in addition to whether it is Tamil or Telugu or Hindi or many other languages that are spoken in Karnataka, just like they are spoken in Tamil Nadu. But the native languages of the state themselves are quite a few. So I think that influences the outlook of the people. You're not looking for primacy of a single language. You can't say that a single language / culture dominated. If you look at the border of Tamil Nadu, it largely shared with Kerala, and then of course smaller borders with Andhra and Karnataka. And that it also helps that Tamil Nadu is at the very end of, geographically also placed at the land's end, if you will, right? Like Kerala. So actually a fairer comparison would be not with Andhra Pradesh, which the United Andhra Pradesh then, that shares borders with everything from Odisha to Chhattisgarh, today's Telangana, which is United Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh to Maharashtra and Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. A fairer comparison would be with Kerala, because it literally shares borders only with 2 states, just the 2 or 3 states, just the way Tamil Nadu shares borders with 2 or 3 states. But Kerala, you don't see the sort of the really staunch linguistic nationalism, so to speak. And certainly the geography influences things, certainly the cultural history of the place influences things. And I say that to mean that if you're at the land's end, Nehru actually said it, right? The period of time, forget about India and independence and all that stuff, even prior to that, the period of time for which and parts of India and parts of Pakistan, today's Pakistan, were culturally and geographically one entity, far exceeds the period of time for which the north and south were one entity. In fact, places in Tamil Nadu or Kerala and places in central and north India were never part of a single national entity, so to speak, a single kingdom, if you will, right? Were never conquered together and united as a nation. So culturally, which means that, and since that is what sets the cultural tone, that sets the official language. Tamil Nadu கோயில்ல எந்த பாஷையில எழுதிருக்குன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, எந்த மொழியில எழுதிருக்குன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, that decision, அந்த மொழி வேறுபாடு கோர்ட்ல என்ன language யூஸ் ஆகுது, அது எல்லாமே that becomes the decision of the local kings and royalty, right, of the place. They employed, if you look at the Tanjavur kings, they apparently employed people to write Telugu poetry, right? That is a choice they made. So if you don't have the same set of rulers ruling certain territories, then you don't share certain kinds of common history and culture. So Tamil Nadu and Kerala much more are isolated that way because they're at the land's end. So geography plays a part, cultural history plays a part. The current linguistic makeup, which is Karnataka by definition is multilingual, much more so than states like Tamil Nadu or Kerala or Andhra or other states. But even more than all that, I believe that the reason that Tamil Nadu's linguistic nationalism took the path that it did is actually very, very deeply connected to the politics of the state. If a Periyar hadn't happened, right, and some of this is happenstance, you're born where you are, and you feel strongly about what you do, you react the way you do. Some people rise to be able to mobilize the public, capture the imagination of the public, and therefore end up being, mass leaders. So it's a stroke of luck in a certain way, right? You don't engineer a Periyar. Periyar happens. And he picked up certain cudgels of very strong subnationalism. Anna was a genius when it came to subnationalism.
Let me just call Vaishna because she was the idea behind the first issue after she took over as editor, which focused on language. I think let's hear from Vaishna and then I'll come to Tara.
R.K., it's interesting for me, two things that you brought up, the Audrey Truschke interview that we did where she spoke of an early modernity in India as represented by, the multilingual state that it was and always has been. And in that context, I was thinking that, Annadurai saying no to Hindi was a very, very modern position. He was, I think, ahead of his times because every language is considered almost, it's a nation in itself. Every language is a nation. It contains multitudes. The point that you bring up about culture is absolutely valid. Language is not just what we're speaking. It is who we are. It shapes what we eat. It shapes what we read. It shapes what we think. And for Annadurai to have taken such a strong stand on, keeping Tamil alive and keeping Hindi away, for me, is not so much a negative position against Hindi and other languages as a positive position in preserving Tamil. And a very important move if you consider how many languages have died in India and continue to die every day. And also the whole sort of conquering position that Hindi is being given today. And as you are aware, some of the latest language surveys show that the number of speakers of Hindi language is always shown as very high, simply by incorporating all sorts of other dialects as Hindi, dialects from Rajasthan, dialects from Bihar, dialects from Uttar Pradesh. They are just, they just completely, their independent existence is denied and they are sort of taken into Hindi, And every time we are doing that to one of these dialects, we are killing a little mini culture. And so for me, therefore, this discussion today, where you start off with Annadurai and his position on Hindi, I think it's a very important thing because we are in a we are moving towards this idea of, this single language, single literature, single everything, one India, one ration card, one, every damn thing is one, and one language. So unnecessary, so unnecessary. We are a country of multiplicities, and we should continue to be that way.
Got it. Now, Tara, the book that you referred to is Anna Speaks at the Rajya Sabha, 1962 to 1966, edited by S. Ramachandran, and it came out in 1975. Let me just read out a passage from that, because I wrote about this in Frontline in the issue where we discussed languages. Speaking on the official languages bill, C.N. Annadurai, MP and later Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, made many valid points. And I'm going to quote from one page 69. It was stated that Hindi has got the claim to become the official language because it was spoken by 42% of the population. If this 42% were to be scattered throughout the length and breadth of India, the argument would be logical and would be ethical also. But this 42% is concentrated in compact and contiguous areas. Therefore, if 42% is taken into consideration, you are conferring a permanent perennial advantage to a compact and contiguous area in India, and conversely, a permanent disadvantage to other areas. Therefore, the 42% entrenched in a compact area cannot be taken as an index of ethical majority. It is merely an arithmetical majority. Therefore, I say that Hindi has no claim to becoming the official language. This in page 69. So just to make it clear, one more passage I'll read from there. The consequence of imposition of Hindi as an official language will create, this is Anna speaking, will create a definite, permanent and sickening disadvantage to the Hindi, to the non-Hindi speaking states. In this problem, the DMK occupies only a very small place. It depends upon the future of this bill whether the DMK is to occupy a greater sphere or occupy the same sphere. But if Hindi is imposed as an official language, the DMK will unfold its relentless fight, its relentless agitation against the imposition of Hindi, whatever be the consequences. I mean, Anna went to the extent of saying that we will do anything, whatever it takes, to stop the imposition of Hindi. This is page 72. Just the next page, it says, I would say it is not a question of majority or minority. It's a question of justice and freedom. It's a question of consultation and concord. It's a question of amity and affection or animosity. You will have to decide in it in that way and not through numbers.
Again, I think we have come to a stage. The fight is never over, but we've come to a stage where the fight is known, right? At some point in time, the need to assert Tamil as a language was crucial, because such an assertion, there was something waiting at the gates. There was a Hindi as an official language that was going to be passed, that was waiting at the gates. So the kind of assertion that you needed to do was more of a defense. And, therefore it takes a certain rhetoric, a certain form and shape in order to mobilize the masses and achieve those ends, which is great. It was successful, and here we are.
Okay, got it. Lakshmi, please.
English seems to be the aspirational language of everybody, not just in Tamil Nadu, in all the states, wherever I go, wherever I travel. People want to learn English because they think that English will open their doors for them. So, I think all governments should focus more on teaching English and don't call English a foreign language. It has been with us for 300 years, and it is certainly more useful than learning any other language.
Today is Annadurai's 114th birth anniversary. A lot of what he fought for he needs to be fought for even now, even today, from federalism to language issues to Hindi imposition and whatnot. So we are where we started off. History is repeating itself, and then we hope to see you all in another, one of these spaces soon enough, Frontline spaces. And thank you all from Frontline spaces.